I want a separation. Literally the worst words you could possibly hear from your husband. And if you're going through that, make sure you watch this video, because I'm going to talk you through 3 really important steps you need to take in order to be able to move forward, but also maximize your chances of saving your marriage at this time. Now, if you are going through this, my heart breaks for you because I know how painful it is, but I want you to know that there is hope. Transformation is real, and I see it regularly with my clients. You know, people like Angie and Laurie and Michelle and Sarah and all these incredible women who have gone through my program to be able to create the shifts that you're looking for. So just realize that this is real, that transformation is real, and watch this entire video so you maximize all of the learnings that you can get in order to be able to move forward. Make sure you hit that subscribe button below and click on that bell notification as well, so every week you get access to my latest videos where I talk you through a little bit more about learning about male psychology, learning how to really heal from within, and learning how to really maximize your chances of saving your marriage as well, so that you don't have to break up the family and the children and all those really difficult consequences as a result of separations. Now, I know you're going through a really tough time right now, and to be perfectly honest, there are 2 mindsets that I usually see people in when they're at a place where their husbands have said that they want a separation. One is they get into a place of desperation. You know, they're just, it's like everything in the world ceases to exist, and it's only the marriage. They have to save the marriage. And I understand it, because remember, we are in survival mode. If your husband has said that he wants a separation, then you're going to be in a place where you're not going to want to break up this foundation that you've got right now. So I totally understand it. And whenever something's been taken away from us, that's where the problems arise so much. That's where we find it so hard to be stable and to be grounded in those moments. It's all about, I just don't want to lose that thing. So we end up just clinging on for dear life, and we do things that we probably shouldn't do if we're really honest, but it's something that just becomes a natural instinct within us. So that's the first place that people are at in terms of their mindset. And the second mindset is that they get to this place where they become extremely brutal on themselves. In other words, they feel like they're not good enough. There's a level of self-hatred. There's an element of just feeling like you're just useless. And in fact, one of my clients had actually said that where she was feeling, or what she was feeling at that time, was, I used to feel like trash. I used to feel absolutely horrible. I hated myself. And if you just think about that language that some people use in terms of hatred and trash and all of that stuff, it intensifies the emotions that we're actually feeling. And it's such a difficult place, and there's no judgment at all, because once again, if you're going through this sort of pain, that's the natural reaction from a human behavioral perspective. However, what I do know is that when we're in that place and we act from that place, it can really lead to some dire circumstances, and it gives you the complete opposite response to what you're wanting. We often think, if we're just really desperate, we show how much we really want it, or how much we're prepared to fight for it, that everything's going to flow. Unfortunately, it doesn't quite work that way. So what I'm going to talk you through now is 3 really important steps you want to take to move forward and to really help you to get the sort of outcome that you're really looking for. Now, the first step that I wanted to talk you through is what we call the law of least effort. Now, this is something that a guy by the name of Deepak Chopra talks a lot about. And what essentially it means is that if we look at nature, if we look at the universe, if we look at the world, everything happens with least effort. We see planets revolving around the sun. We see acorns turning into oak trees. We turn embryos turning into babies. We see, the animal kingdom and the way that, that whole process sort of evolves. We just see everything, the way grass grows. It happens naturally and with least effort. Birds don't try to fly, they just fly. It is their intrinsic nature. It is who they are, really. And what happens is that when we're going through tough times in life, we try and get in the way of who we really are. We get in the way of our natural instincts, of our natural sense of self, if you like. And so if it's our nature to be happy, to be living in love, and to be living in bliss and so on, if it's our nature to do that, then why don't we step into that place during the tough times? And it's simple, it just comes down to fear. You know, fear comes in and just takes over, and so we immediately live in that survival mode. But what happens also in those times is that we push even harder. And I see this a lot in terms of people when it comes to their business or in any area of life that they really want to improve in. You know, and I'm sure you've felt the same way at times as well, when you've wanted to achieve something, you wanted to do something, and because you wanted it so badly, you push, you keep working harder, and it's almost like the very thing that you want tends to elude you when you're going too hard. And I've spent a lot of time, you know, studying the great sportsmen over the years, the Michael Jordans, the Wayne Gretzkys, you know, the Novak Djokovic's, and all these sort of people who excel in their field. And the one thing that a lot of them always say is that they tended to succeed when they weren't desperate for it, when they had faith, when they trusted, and they allowed themselves to flow with the game rather than trying to control it from the outcome because they were afraid of an outcome. And that to me is really important in terms of a mindset. Everything will happen in the right way if you stop resisting what is and you allow things to flow. And yes, there are times, of course, you have to take action, but the action comes from a different place. It has a different motivation behind it. It's more of a motivation of love and faith and confidence, rather than like, oh my God, I'm so scared that if I do this and this is what's going to happen, so I better not do that, and I'm really worried about the outcome, and I'm really afraid that, you know, if I don't do anything, then he's going to walk away, so therefore I've got to keep pushing and pushing and pushing, and then that's going to push him further away as well. And I've noticed this in my life over the years, not just in relationships, when it came to business, when it came to my work, when it came to sports, everything. When I tried too hard, when I pushed too hard, it just always eluded me. But our ego thinks that, okay, well, because we're in survival, because we're in fear, we have to make sure that we do the things, because if we were just to sit back passively, how the hell is that going to work? But it actually does. It's actually quite magical how things can start to orchestrate themselves in a beautiful way when you take the foot off the pedal and you allow yourself to just flow with things. And then you'll get a little intuition or something inside of you, or you know, you'll get a piece of advice from someone and it'll be like, yeah, okay, I think that's the thing that I need to do. Boom, and you do it. And then things start to flow in your direction. So really learn to apply the law of least effort. You know, just allow yourself to flow with things. When you get that impulse, or when you get that part of you that's like, oh man, I've got to do this, I have to, I'm so afraid if I don't do this and this is what's going to happen, just take a step back, take a breath, just pause, allow yourself to get into the moment and ask yourself, what is my intent behind this? What is my intent behind acting upon this? What is my intent behind the very thing that I want to do here? Is it coming from love, or is it coming from fear? If it's coming from love, you know it's the right thing. If it's coming from fear, then you might want to prevent yourself from doing that. Now, some of you might listen to this and go, yeah, but I really love my husband, so you know, I've got to keep in touch with him. I've got to chase him. Yeah, you may love him for sure, but the intent behind that action is from fear, because it's, if I don't chase him, then this is what might happen. But if your intent is, look, I genuinely want the best for him, I love him, I care for him as a man, and I want to make sure that he's okay. And if you genuinely feel that in your heart, you'll know, then you know you can act upon it from that way. Okay, so that's the first law I want to talk about. The second step is what I talk about, which is called the attractor pattern. Now, I want to talk about it in this way. On the left-hand side of your screen now, you're going to see a little diagram. And you're going to see the letters X, Y, Z at the top, and then you're going to see X with an arrow, Y with an arrow, and then Z. Now, you see, in the world of cause and effect, what happens is we think that if we do X, it's then going to lead to Y, which is then going to lead to Z. And we're going to get the very thing that we want. So we get caught up in the very almost practical aspects of life. How on earth could I possibly, save this marriage if I'm not communicating with him? So therefore I have to do X and then do Y, and then that will lead to Z, hopefully. Now, once again, over the years and all the things that I've done, all the people I've studied, there's something different. There's something that happens with certain individuals that it may look like it's just X leads to Y leads to Z, and they get these incredible outcomes. But other people try and do the same things and they don't get the same results. So why is that? And that's where the foundation of XYZ is the most important part. And XYZ basically represents their psychological pattern, their makeup, their emotional makeup, their blueprint on the inside. Effectively, all of the good energy that you're holding onto on the inside, or bad, for example. Because if you're holding on to all this negativity on the inside, you're having negative thoughts, which lead to negative emotions, which lead to negative actions, which lead to negative results. If you are holding on to that sort of mindset on a regular basis, then you're going to attract poor circumstances into your life. You're going to attract things that don't serve you for your highest good. Now, does that mean that all negativity is a bad thing? Absolutely not. We can learn from negativity. We sometimes need it to help us to grow. So in no way am I saying negativity is a bad thing. In fact, without the negativity that you may be having right now, you may not have even been drawn to this video. You may not even been drawn to other videos where you would have learned things and so on. It's really about making sure that we don't just always think that we've got to live in this positive state all the time. Sometimes negativity can actually serve us, okay? But we have to remember that on the whole, our center of gravity, we really want to be more in that kind of optimistic and positive and just loving place as much as we possibly can. In other words, the X and the Y and the Z, if we can really get a lovely sort of relationship there and build this beautiful energy on the inside by virtue of our thoughts and our beliefs and our emotions and so on, and the energy that we put out there, we're going to attract different circumstances, which is then going to create a change to the X that leads to Y that leads to Z, which is the actual physical reality part of it. So you have your psychology and your emotions at the top, and then you have your fundamental actions there. But most people think that the actions are the things that lead to the results, but it's actually the XYZ at the top. It's the emotions and the mindset all around it that makes it so much better. And this particular pattern was taught by a guy called David Hawkins, who I absolutely love. He's got such an amazing level of knowledge, but it's very deep, very spiritual stuff that is very powerful in my world. But one thing that I know without any shadow of a doubt, to try and simplify these things so that they serve you in the best possible way, remember your emotions and your beliefs and your mindset, essentially, and your energy that you give off is what determines the kind of action that you'll take, which then leads to the results that you want. So put out that good energy, put out that good vibe. Always ask yourself, once again, am I coming from love or am I coming from fear? Come from love. Put that good energy out there. Focus on serving. Focus on giving to other people. Focus on giving to yourself as well and lifting your vibration up, and then more of that good energy will come your way. And the third step that you want to take here is to really make sure you buy into the idea that you are good enough just as you are. See, if we're always holding on to the energy of I'm not good enough and feeling like you're trash, like I talked about at the start of the video, and just feeling useless and a failure and all that sort of stuff, that intensity of emotion is going to lower your vibration as a person. When it lowers your vibration, then it's going to limit your chances of being able to move forward and save your marriage. And I know that's a really uncomfortable truth that I'm saying here. I know it's probably going to trigger some of you. It's probably going to hurt some of you. But I say these things out of love because I know that sometimes we have to face the truth. You know, if I'm in the backyard and I see some weeds, I don't look at it and go, oh my God, that's so terrible. The way we move out of it is we've got to pull the weeds out. We've got to kill the weeds somehow so we can clean up the grass and make it look really good. That is something that needs to happen. So sometimes we have to face up to the truth, recognize, hey, look, this is how I'm feeling. And there's no judgment once again, because I've had plenty of those thoughts and plenty of those emotions on the inside. And the reason why we've got to heal this is, once again, if we feel like we're not good enough, then we're going to react from desperation, because we're trying to look for someone on the outside to basically fill that void that's on the inside, and that never works. Even if your husband comes back, it will still never be enough. So that's why you've got to work on inside. And the great news is that you absolutely can do this. Like, this is not something that's sort of out of your reach or anything like that. It's something you absolutely can do. So please remember that. It's not just for the select few, it's for everyone. Everyone can do this. Everyone can create that healing on the inside, so that you feel like you're enough just as you are. And beautiful things happen when you do that. You start to set lovely boundaries. Our partners start to pick up on that and subconsciously start to recognize it and feel it, and then they start to act in different ways towards you as well, because you're raising your worth as a person. And look, I understand that when you're going through it, it seems a little bit far out of reach. You sort of feel like, how do I even get out of this? How do I even heal from all of this? And I totally get it. And so this is kind of why I do what I do, and I want you to know that I am here to help. So if you are in a place where you're struggling and you're really having a difficult time with all of this, and you're just not sure what to do, and you resonate with some of my material, then all you need to do is, in the description section below, just click on that link which says book a call with me. Just click on that link, choose a time that works for you, and then I'll contact you at that scheduled time, just so I can learn a little bit more about your situation, learn a little bit about where you want to get to, and how we can really bridge that gap, and how to help you move forward. Because I'm telling you that this journey is real, and you absolutely can make some huge shifts within yourself and within your marriage as well. So once again, just click on that link, choose a time that works for you, and then I'll contact you, and I can't wait to speak to you. And if you've liked this video, make sure you hit that like button below. If you want to get more videos like that, hit that subscribe button. And do let me know what your biggest takeaway is from this video as well. If you have any particular questions, just write them in the comment section below, and I'll make sure to respond to every single one of you. Don't be shy. I know it can sometimes be a little bit scary, but I really pride myself on sort of creating a really loving community here. So, just put your information or any questions down below, and I'll make sure I respond to each and every one of you. And if you want to learn whether no contact is the right way to go in terms of your marriage, just click this video above. If you want to learn how to stop emasculating your man, click this video above. Thank you so much, and I'll talk to you in the next video.